It's Lauren with Discover Double Bass, and I'm in a little bit of a different setup than usual today. If you haven't heard the news, I have moved to Australia, which is super exciting, but I'm still waiting on a lot of my equipment to get here. So I'm not using my usual cameras, my usual lights, or my instrument, but that's okay. It's still going to be a good lesson, jam-packed full of all of the information that you need to know. So today I wanted to talk about one of the most common concerns that I get, which is pain in the bow hand or the bow arm. And there are some really common things that people do that cause this pain and tension in the right arm. So today I'm going to outline what those are and what you can do to prevent yourself from doing them. Now, I personally believe that all pain and tension in the bow arm is caused by unnecessary squeezing. And the root of that squeezing is going to be coming from your fingers. So if you're holding the bow up just in the air like this, if you can notice the way that your hand is gripping on the frog, it should just be a relaxed form. This goes for the bow hand, the bow grip, and the bow arm. And what I mean by that is you should keep your hand in this shape on the frog, but you shouldn't have to squeeze to hold the stick up. Now, if I were to let go with my left hand, I would have to squeeze a little bit. But the good thing is when you rest the bow on the string like this, you can use the string as leverage and let the weight of your arm sink into the string rather than squeezing and gripping and having to push in like this. You shouldn't have to hold the bow on the string. You should actually let it sink into the string. And if you do this, that will allow you to relax the thumb muscle, which is a really, really common place for tension and pain. The back of the hand, another common place. And in the wrist right here. And the way that this affects your bow stroke is that if you've got your hand squeezing like this and you're gripping, that really prevents you from being flexible in the wrist, which is what you need to play with a consistent tone and connect the strings or connect the bows together. So if you're playing and you're gripping with that thumb, the back of the hand, you're really not going to be able to move as freely as you need to. So what I would recommend doing, putting the bow on the string like this and focusing on what I said earlier about letting the arm and the hand sink into the string and try to relax your hand as much as possible. Sounds really simple, but it's a lot more complicated and a lot more frustrating when you're trying to do it by yourself. So if you can let your hand sink into the string like this, just focus on one muscle at a time. Focus on the back of the hand, the thumb muscle, and then in the wrist if you tense up in there. And usually if you've got this thumb tense, then that's going to cause tension not just in the thumb, but sometimes in the palm of the hand as well. So look out for that. Now, another thing to keep in mind is if you're experiencing this pain in the back of the hand like this, then that's probably because you might be gripping with the pinky like this. This is something that I used to do a lot. I put a lot of that weight in the back of the hand and I gripped with the pinky. It was just a bad habit that I got into. But eventually I learned to let go with this pinky, and theoretically you should be able to play with the pinky even behind the frog and it should be okay. You should be able to move freely. I wouldn't recommend doing that if you're new to the bow and you're experiencing a whole lot of tension, but if you want to try it out just to focus on relaxing as much as possible and not using that pinky, then absolutely give that a shot. Now, another thing that can be a root problem for tension and pain is pressing into the string. So when we use weight to sink into the string, we're using the relaxed form of our arm, which is this form, but all the muscles that can be relaxed are relaxed. And we're just letting the weight of the arm direct straight into the string. If you're pressing, you're actually using your force to dig into the string, which means that you're tensing your muscles and you're pressing like this with the whole arm, which pretty much eliminates any kind of flexibility that you can get in the wrist or in the fingers. And it also causes a lot of tension in the hand and specifically in the thumb. That's a lot of weight and a lot of pressure right on the thumb. And usually what happens when you press is that you feel like you have to grip the frog a lot more because you have a lot less control, which is just more pressure and more tension on the thumb. So just to review, you want to use the string as leverage to let the bow sink into the string using weight, relax all of your fingers, all of the muscles, and focus on relaxing your bow arm and holding it in a relaxed form. Now, I would practice this with the bow on the string, or if you feel more comfortable doing this first, holding the bow up like this and just relaxing the hand, and then putting the bow on the string. And I would first just do this by holding the bow here, but then I would add long tones on just open notes and practice in front of a mirror, watch what you're doing, and listen at the same time. Usually if you see something that's a little bit off, like if you see your arm going up like this, or you see, I don't know, your bow moving up and down, or if you see your pinky doing something a little bit strange, then typically that's a sign that there's something strange going on. So practice these long tones as soft as you possibly can, and then as loud as you possibly can, to make sure that you've got that tension and that pressure, or not using pressure and using weight instead, you've got that all in check. And then after that, I would just practice with a slow scale. I warm up every day with a slow scale, and I focus on all of these things because the music that I play, I just focus on the notes that I'm playing, and sometimes I forget to focus on what I'm doing in the bow, and I realize that I've held a lot of tension, and you don't want to do that. So if you focus on this away from the instrument, away from your music, then slowly it will seep into the rest of your playing. So I hope that that helped. If you have any questions, please leave a comment in the section below. And if you enjoyed this lesson and you would like to learn more from me, then please check out my newly released full-length course, All on Playing in Thumb Position, which is available exclusively on discoverdoublebass.com. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.